Okay. All right. Do it.
Welcome, everybody. I have with me today Rachel Stone, who's a published author, speaker, coach, mom, and lover of life. She is a master level therapist with decades of experience in the mental health field. After going through her own divorce with two young children, she now coaches women how to claim their power, identify their chosen path, and step into their new lives with strength and purpose. With combined personal and professional experience, Rachel helps women grow through their grief, loss, adversities, and not just go through it and winging it day by day. Welcome, Rachel.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Petra. I'm really happy to be here.
Yes, we've talked with us before because you're part of the other thing as well, and I just love your story, and I'm excited to feature it because so many women, especially, go through divorce and separations, and it's hard.
Yeah.
So I'm actually gonna let you lead the way, and like, where would you like to start? Introduce your life.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, no problem there. I have no problem talking. So yeah, my name is Rachel Stone, and I actually wrote my book called Love Affair 101: Five Keys to Taking Charge of Your Life and Feeling Loved Again After Divorce, back in 2016. But I had been divorced for quite a while previous to that, like probably, well, I've been divorced now for, like 12 years. And thankfully my ex-husband and I, he's remarried. Um, we have a pretty cordial relationship now, but it was not always like that. Let me emphasize that. I think I literally uttered the word, like, I'm going to work really hard at forgiving, and not for
Mm.
you and not for me, but like for our children, because I
Yep,
want our kids to grow up in a loving environment and not a hateful one. And we're the biggest examples of that,
yep,
so I knew intellectually I was able to say that like out loud, but living that, um called for some serious restraint at times, and also kind of living intentionally. It was really, really rough in the beginning. When I first got divorced, I owned a wellness spa in downtown St. Petersburg, Florida, in like very shishi kind of area. And at the same year that I got divorced was the same year that the economy tanked. So a lot of
oh
people
my
were like
goodness.
pulling back spending. And I did win the Outstanding Business of the Year award for a woman-owned business, and I had like a great smile on my face and kind of always put on a happy face, but on the
Yeah,
ins like, so I looked on the outside like I had it all together, but on the inside, I was in sheer torment. I
yeah.
like, even though I won that award, I actually was, filing for bankruptcy. I was financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically just, like, broke. I was sick all the time. I lost a lot of weight. Um, I was I was just fried. I was
Yeah.
really, really fried, and I felt like I had nowhere to turn. And I felt really alone, and like nobody understood me. I didn't know like I had every single area of my life had been so affected that I didn't even know which to concentrate on first. Like I was like,
Yeah,
what scares me the most? My
yeah,
finances, or, my kids acting up, or, like, am I
right.
gonna lose my home? Like I couldn't even, like, just getting through the day because I was spinning with so much fear, and lack of security, that I just felt like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? What am I, like, I just really, and I wound up kind of leaning on, I had a really good conversation with my mom. Mama knows. And she was like, "Well, what would you recommend for your client?" Because I had been a therapist before I owned this
hmm
wellness spa, and I was like, huh, like, I looked at her
Like,
like she
what do you
3 times,
mean?
like, "Huh?"
Right.
Like, "What are you talking about?" And so I really had to just kinda dial it back and kick it into basic needs, creating, like, a safe space in my home, like, so
Yep.
that I could function on a daily basis, have a place to refuel, like, I it was really, really basic in the beginning,
There,
like
there is something to be said about Maslow's hierarchy. Like, if people don't know, I live by that thing because there's some safety and security is your number one.
it is, and you don't realize it until
Yeah.
it's missing. Like, you really and, like,
Or
even when
you
we're, like,
realize you
chugging
never
along
had
and
it, and you're
everything's
like, "How
fine.
do I get there?"
Yeah,
like
well,
I
that
never had
too.
it. Like, how do
That
I get there? So that was a the rug pulled
and
out
I
from
would
under my
imagine
eyes.
that the people that don't have it and want it, like, A, they don't know what to look for
Yeah,
because it's not familiar, and B, when they do have it, it may make them feel very uncomfortable because it's so foreign. They'll be
and
like,
it would create trauma. Ask me
"Yeah,
how I know.
how you know?"
They'll create the trauma because this is
That's what you're used
it
to,
doesn't feel safe because it's not what I know, right? So
right?
I'm glad in case anybody's wondering, it's one of those most important steps if you're trying to get your life together after a
It
divorce.
really is. It really is, and I harp on, like, I harp on the 3 Cs, the your comfort, your community, or your connections with other people, and your control, meaning, like, what you have control of recognizing the difference between what you have control over and what you don't, and then focusing on the things that you do have control over. Can't control other people, sometimes you can't control circumstances, like, but this right here is what you can control. You can control you, your reactions, how you respond to things. But if you don't have the comfort in place, if you don't have a sense of security, you can't like, you cannot function on a
Right.
daily basis, you have to have that, and there's really, really easy ways, like, in your home, it's not expensive, like, to create that, like,
Yeah.
creating a safe space, like, pick one room in your house that's, like, your sanctuary, like,
Hmm.
no bad words, no things that you don't like, nothing of that nature is allowed in that room, and that's your place to refuel, kind of like
Yeah.
if you think of yourself as like, like a cell phone, and that's like your charging dock. Like, we all
Hmm.
have to refuel, we all have to recharge. That's where you plug back into your heart and your soul and your spirit is in that safe space, and that's where you do things that are good for you, like meditating, vegging out, like, I don't care if it's Netflix binging, but it's like whatever
Yeah.
feels good to you is done in that room. If my kids were fighting, I'd be like, "Ow, you can't be in here and do that because
Right.
this is my, like, safe zone, sanctuary." I mean, I even realized when I did like, I would wait till the kids went to bed. I mean, they were 7 and 4 when I got divorced, and my finances were wrecked, just wrecked, and I would bring all of my bills into my room and do my bills, like, on my bed after they went to bed. Bad idea, bad idea.
Yeah.
'Cause sometimes I'd push them aside and fall asleep, and then I was literally sleeping with my problems. Like, this is, like, so isn't that interesting? And I'm like, "I gotta get these out of here," you know?
Mean, if you're gonna attack the work you gotta do, that's one way to do it. Because I'm a huge fan of doing the work, and I say it all the time in a lot of what I share. You gotta do the work no matter what,
You
because
do.
and you gotta stay in the room to do it. Put your butt
Yeah.
in the chair, stay in the room, and do the work. So I actually kind of like you have to face it. So to me, it's like, yeah, that's how I would do it.
Yes, that's how a lot of people would. What I wound up having to do was either taking it outside of my room because that was my safe place, sanctuary spot,
Yeah,
or not doing it on my bed. Like, I had to, like, at least put it at a like, at a desk, at a spot, somewhere else in the room, but, like, off to the side so it's not
yeah,
in my bed where I'm sleeping and rejuvenating and trying so hard to refuel and get a grip on life again, like,
yes,
so those are just the I mean, and that's it sounds like something so easy and simple, but we forget how
we do.
important it is. And so and creating that comfort for ourselves, like after I did that with my room and started to really reap the benefits of it, journaling, I was meditating, like all that good stuff, like
Yeah.
when you do that, your stress level comes down. You're able to think so much clearly. You're able to attract things that you need and want in your life. I mean, like all these things started to kind of come to me. Like my creative mind was able
Hmm.
to like kick back in. I was so stressed out that I couldn't even think.
I'm
you
a
know?
huge fan of journaling. Like it's one of my go-tos is to just dump the
Me too.
brain, as I call it.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what whatever's there, it gets out. Get out, parent, leave.
Well, here's
Um,
the thing about talking and about journaling, and I've like, I've worked with a lot of people that have had a lot of trauma in their life, and oftentimes to keep them safe, they don't want to talk about it because then it
yep,
makes it that much more real, right? And I tell them, like, once we establish trust, it's so good to, like, whether you're journaling, meditating, talking, whatever it is, you have to get it out either on paper or talk. Like, if you don't get it out, it still has control over you. When you get it out, you're releasing the power that it had over you. And that's why journaling is so good for people. Like, it's a brain dump. Get it out, like, so that you can function. You're, like, clearing it out, it's
yep.
shedding it, it's like shedding a layer of trauma. Get it out,
It really is, though. It really is. Like I definitely like when I get frustrated because when we try to control things, when we try to control, we get frustrated because guess what? We can't do it. So I grab my journal. I'm like, this has me really frustrated, and I just start letting go and writing it out. And by the time I'm done, it's like, oh,
You feel so much better.
not only do I feel better, but 9 times out of 10, I have a solution.
Yep, yep.
That's why I'm such a huge fan. It's like, yeah,
I
okay.
am too. I am too. Creating, like, morning and nighttime rituals are really important. Um, the really obvious things like, eating better, drinking lots of
Mhm.
water, taking good care of your body, because that's like your vessel, like, I
Yep.
mean, there's really, really simple things to start you off in the right direction when you feel like you've gone through like a major life transition, loss, trauma, whatever it is. That's that's the key is start with the foundational comfort, thing, creating a safe space, and then all the rest starts to fall into place. Once you have that safe space, then you can kind of like a turtle, like you're like sticking your head out of your shell and you're like, okay, who's out there? Who supports me? Who can I lean on? What can I do? Like, how can I get resourced? And that's the connection and community piece where you start reaching out to people that, and women are amazing. I've told you this, like, we literally create a stress reducing hormone by being together called oxytocin. Just by being together, just by being in each other's presence, we lower our stress. So once your stress gets lowered, that's when you start to focus on some solutions to those problems that you think are, and then the funniest thing about lots of times we perceive problems when we're in the moment, like the traumas of our lives, like they really were like tragic. We feel like victims. I mean, like it's a really, really hard thing to go through, especially when you're in like the thick of it. Oftentimes, people that have gone through, like, a major loss or trauma or divorce or breakup or anything like that, way later down the line, hindsight's 2020, they look back and I mean, sorry, ex-husband, but honestly, like, my divorce is probably one of the best things that could have ever happened to me
Yeah.
because it helped me step out of who I used to be, bleh, like, and really step into who I am now. I
Yep.
mean, and it just gets better and better. And, like I really feel so much more empowered than I've ever been before. And that's what started me writing my book.
Mhm.
That's what started with I didn't at the time, I had a corporate job. I was in corporate America. It was soul sucking, but like, it helped me take care of my babies. I had good benefits, I
Mhm.
mean, like, I met amazing people, like, all of that was great, but I am not I do not have the genetic makeup of a corporate working person. It's not for me. I'm way too heart-centered and quite frankly nice. Like, there's a lot of people that really believe that, like, you have to step on other people to get ahead. It's like dog eat dog, and I don't play that way. Like,
Nope,
that's not
me
for
either.
me. Ooh, and man, oh man, writing that book kind of saved my soul. I was still
Mhm.
working a corporate job, but I wrote this book And I really was doing it more for fun than anything else. Like, it was just cathartic for me to write it. After I wrote it, I had so many people tell me, like, "You really should be a life coach." Like, you really, and I really missed being a counselor. Like, like, that is my calling because I have this really amazing gift of connecting with people, helping them feel safe and loved on. Like, I'm a natural nurturer. Ask my kids, it drives them crazy because 'cause they're teenagers. They don't want any of that, Like, so they're like, "Get away from me, mom." But I really like, that's what, like, really excites me about my day. I love working with clients. I love watching the the switch flip for women where they finally, like, step into who they are and what
Hmm.
they want in life
It's so
and
good.
start
So
moving
good.
towards it, and I'm just like, get it, girl, get it," like,
Yep.
I'm like, "No, I will be your best cheerleader," and so I have goosebumps talking about that, it's weird, like,
No,
so
it's not weird. Like I think that's when you're in your purpose, that's just like that. Like you get so excited because I
and
am quite similar in some of those ways where I'm just like, oh yeah, I get that.
it feels so good to me to watch people just learn and grow and live the life they're meant to live and
Yeah.
not stay stuck, and so many people get stuck in their crap, like, they get
Hmm.
stuck in what happened to them and not what they can have, like, and going from what happened to them and that being their focus to shifting to something that is just beautiful, where they, like, see the light, they see the light at the end of the
And it's
tunnel, and they're starting to, like, move towards it and help kinda guiding them,
Mhm.
"Go to the light," you know?
This is not death. We promise.
Not that actually, a rebirth is what it is. Like, it's really a rebirthing, and it's beautiful to
Yeah.
watch. Love being a part of it. I just recently contacted, some of my clients from 2020 because that was, like, pandemic, blah,
Yeah.
and I just wanted to check in with them, like, not trying to sell them anything, I just really, because every single client I've worked with, I've totally just, like, loved, and
Hmm.
that's actually one of the beauties of being able to be a coach rather than a therapist in an office setting, is that I get
Yes.
to call my own shots. I get to be friends. I make,
Yeah.
like, forever friends with my clients, like, and not for them and not for me, but, like, it just is this natural thing that happens that's beautiful, and I really feel fortunate that I have that platform to do that, with, and so I just reached out to them, and it was so cool because every single person that I reached out to, um well, every single person from 2020, almost everyone did not know that I wrote a book. I had forgotten to tell them.
I can relate
So
to that.
so I sent them a book. Well, that just shows you, like, not trying to brag here, like, but so I sent them all a book, and oh my god, the reconnection that we had, and like, them saying how different their lives are now. One woman is writing a book of her own. Another woman is open. She's an ER doctor and she's opening her own practice. And she's like, like, can I refer clients to you that, need help, like mental health help? And I'm like, of course, like, no, you cannot. Of course you
Like,
can't. You know,
yeah.
but like, just amazing, amazing story after story after story. And I just was
Yeah.
flying after that. So
That's definitely the beauty when you find that purpose that so many people talk about purpose, and then for some of us we have to go through something pretty traumatic to get us go back to that purpose.
yeah,
you know, you
yeah,
you were there for a minute and then you weren't, and then you're like back into it. So I absolutely love
yeah.
that. And as somebody who has been twice divorced, that's a whole nother story. Sorry, that just makes me laugh. Um, I'm married the same guy twice, y'all. Don't do that. Don't do it. Just some relationship advice from a non-relationship coach here. Um, But there's something beautiful that happens when chaos happens and after the chaos, which is you do so beautifully in the work that you do, which is the empowerment
Yeah,
that
yeah,
happens and coming into your own and
yep,
just really like, this is who I am. And it's
yeah,
because we get lost in relationships.
yeah,
We lose our identity.
yeah.
We, I hate to become one. I loathe that mess, you know,
No,
because that's not a thing.
yeah,
But so I love that the work that you do, and I
thank you,
love that you're part of this conversation, and I get to share your work with my community. Um, and since this is part of the Rebel giveaway, you have a gift. I
I
would
do.
like for you to talk about that of
Yes,
why
so
people want that and need that.
I have a very juicy ebook that I'm sharing, and it has, it's called the Divorced Mom's Guide. It's the Divorced Mom Survival Guide. Blah, blah, let me get it. Divorced Mom Survival. It is a mouthful,
It is that.
and it's basically the 10 best um, little mini stories and pieces of advice, what I call landmines, like little landmines that you don't want to step on, things to avoid. And they're my top 10 things to avoid when you get divorced. And they're like, they have some juicy stories because I've led a juicy life. Like I live full on, whether it's like good for me or bad for me. So, and I know that there's a lot of other women who have fallen into that too.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to help them. Um, it's sort of like the girlfriend's guide to pregnancy and what to expect when expecting, like all of those. This is kind of a what to expect when you get divorced, and
Hmm.
especially if you're a mom, because there's things that people don't tell you that you don't even consider when you're
Yeah.
getting divorced. Like the other one, like dating the other woman, your finances. You actually really should not call on your ex-husband to come fix your plumbing. Like if your toilet breaks, like he's gonna not answer. Expect that. Like you don't get
Right?
to be mad about that. You're
Yeah.
divorced. Like, I mean, there's so many things that it was actually really hard to narrow it down to my top 10 because there's so many. But
Yeah.
there are things that you just don't even consider or think of. You kind of have blinders on. You're just trying to get through to the next step, but there
Yeah.
really are things that you need to know upfront before, like, really move forward. Um, and I've had a couple people, clients that have read it and were like, "Oh, thank God, thank God you told me that." I would never have it. You don't
Yeah.
expect it. Like it's kind of like when you have a baby. It's basically like getting a giant tattoo on your face. You're kind of committed, When you get divorced, it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're getting this giant tattoo on your face. You're in, kind of committed, and it's now time to figure out what things to avoid and what things to move toward. And so, hope this gift will help people really kind of have a heads up and like it's like their own little personal survival guide, so that you know what to expect.
I love that. I know that's a guide I wish I would have had back in the day.
Yes, me too.
Because my
I
goodness, that
No, there
mm,
were things that I like, would be so shocked by that I look back and I'm like, "Why were you shocked by that? Like, why?" Like,
but
you don't know, that's why.
yeah,
You don't
yeah.
know. You don't know what you don't know,
There
and
is that. There's
there's
that. Outside of that, so everybody, get on the link and get yourself the guide. I won't say the mouthful. But in the meantime, where else can people find you?
Well, I do have a website. It's, my company is called Love and Shift. Not to be confused with Love and Shit. I know a lot of people kind of get that confused. It is sort of a play on words. You'll never forget it now, but it's Love and Shift, all spelled out, and it's www.loveandshift, LOVEANDSHIFT. .com.
Awesome, awesome,
You
awesome.
have a link on there to uh, have a complimentary appointment with me, and we'll figure out what your next best move is for you to move forward, like no matter what.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rachel, for this conversation.
Thank you for having me, Jeff.